You're watching Let the Quran Speak. The Quran often tells stories to make us remember and think. And one of the most memorable is a story where the Prophet Sulayman hears an ant speaking, supposedly. Is that actually the case? We're going to find out now as part of our Misunderstood Quranic Verses series. With me is Dr. Shabir. Dr. Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
Pleasure to be on.
So the verse, Dr. Shabir, is from 27, verse 18. And I'm going to read you two different translations, which speaks about the supposed naml in two different ways. So I'm going to give you those two different ways. So it says, here's one translation. It's Sayyid Abul Ala Maududi. Solomon was once on the move with them until when they reached a valley of ants, one of the ants said, "O ants, get into your holes, lest Solomon and his hosts crush you under their feet without even knowing." That's one translation. Here's another. Until when they came to the valley of the naml, a namlite said, "O naml, enter your houses, lest Solomon and his hosts crush you, while they know not." That is the Muhammad Ali translation. Two different translations. One says naml is the actual ant. Another says naml is a kind of people, it seems. So maybe you give us the Arabic first, and then we parse this verse.
Yeah, I don't remember the Arabic of this verse so precisely, but it's something like حتى إذا أتوا وادي النملة قالت نملة يا أيها النمل ادخلوا مساكنكم لا يحطمنكم سليمان وجنوده وهم لا يشعرون. So basically, if we keep the word naml in there as much as possible without prejudging the translation, we would say until they came, that is Sulayman and his army, until they came to the valley of the naml, and in naml said, "Oh, you namls," right? If I can make the Arabic word plural by giving it an English S. "O you namls, get into your dwellings before Sulayman," and that is the King Solomon of the Bible, Prophet Sulayman of the Quran, before Sulayman and his army trample over you unknowingly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this verse obviously presents a problem for people to think about, like, how does an ant speak like this? Because if we take naml to mean ant, which is the most obvious meaning, and namla, like naml is the collective, which means ants in general, as a species, and or don't correct me on the scientific term here, species, genre, whatever, but the whole group, right, of ants, and the namla is like one single ant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if we take it like this, then it will be that Sulayman and his army approached the valley of the ants. Name perhaps so because maybe it's just famous for ants, lots of ants in that valley. And one ant says to the other ants, get into your dwellings before Sulayman and his army crush you unknowingly. So the difficulties here obviously are for us to think of the ant speaking this Arabic language. Now, one can get over that difficulty by saying that, as classical Muslim scholars have already acknowledged, that when the Quran is reporting, let's say, the stories of past prophets, those prophets did not necessarily speak the Arabic language, but their speeches are given in the Quran in the Arabic language. So what the Quran is giving us here is not the precise words that those prophets speak, but we can say that the Quran is giving a particular dramatization of the situation that those prophets faced. They came, they preached to the people responded like that, this is what happened. So the Quran is reproducing that story of the previous prophets, but now in the Arabic language and in a very eloquent manner. We know the Quran to be very eloquent, and the speeches of the people in the Quran are also very eloquent, and most likely they didn't speak with such eloquence. Right, so the Quran is putting their speech in Arabic, but also in an eloquent Arabic. And the whole story is dramatized in a way that is very moving in the Quranic retelling. It's not simply a simple chronicle of what happened. It's not like somebody was there taking down the notes blow by blow what was happening, and then the Quran just simply giving you the same notes. Okay, so with that in mind, it is possible that the Quran is giving here a dramatization of the events that as they occurred. Sulayman and his army are coming. The ants, in their way of simple communicating with each other in their simple way, whether by pheromones or whatever. Don't correct me on the science here again. But however ants can communicate with each other, they do. They all rush into their dwellings. And Sulayman, observing this, like he has the insight to be able to think about what they're doing and realize that they're rushing for their safety. And he, as the Quran says, فَتَبَسَّمَ ضَاحِكًا, he just simply smiles. Laughing at the way in which the ants are scurrying for their safety, and he's drawing a lesson from that. So one can rationalize it in this way. But Muhammad Ali took a different tact. He thought that we can tease the Arabic language here and ask, well, what is naml really? Naml could be a people. And if we say Wadi Naml, this could be the valley where those people live. And when they see the army of Sulayman coming, one of the Naml people, so a Namlite in this translation, says to the other Namlites, get into your dwellings before Sulayman and his army come crushing down on you, unknowingly. But Sayyid Abul Ala Maududi, who does not accept that translation and is aware of that attempt, he, in his own translation and commentary, deconstructs that by saying, even if we grant that Naml could have that meaning, how would they presuppose that Sulayman and his army would come crushing in on them and would not be aware of what they're doing, right? So rather we should keep it as ant, and we can rationalize it in the way that I've just explained. But even more so, we can say that the Quran, as we've seen in other instances, is just simply capitalizing on stories which were known to the listeners. The Quran is not retelling the whole story because it presupposes that people know the story already, and it's just simply homing in on certain aspects of the story to draw important lessons, moral, ethical guidelines from those stories. So then that makes better sense of it than to say that naml in this verse refers to a certain group of people called by that name.
So in the end, Dr. Shabir, was it an ant or a tribe?
So I would say leave it as ant, because that's the most natural meaning of the Arabic language in this case. And, our takeaway from this, Safiya, would be that, yes, we need to bring a certain level of rationality in understanding the verses of the Quran. And we shouldn't press the verses of the Quran to, mean the most literal thing possible, because otherwise you get into problems like, even if you talk about speech, it's more than speech. It's like, how do the ants know what would be the state of mind of Sulayman and his army? To say that the ants would know that if Sulayman and his army do crush them, it would be because they're not aware. So it's even going into the psychology of the ants. But if you take it as a dramatization of this interaction between Solomon's army and the ants with other ants, then it makes better sense than to take it in a very literal way. But I wouldn't go the way of saying, okay, let's make this mean a tribe.
All right, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Muslim Media Hub, the new home of Let the Quran Speak.
Here we spread positivity and good. We help people experience the beauty of Islam and help them appreciate and understand Muslims.
This beautiful building we purchased at cost $2.3 million.
Yeah, we've already raised a third of that money, and with your help, inshallah, we can pay off the rest.
So we're looking for people who can give $1,000 each. If you can be part of the select group, that's amazing.
Otherwise, just please give whatever you can. Every dollar counts.
It's our collective responsibility to share the message of Islam with our fellow human beings. Please help us continue this good work.
It's a sadaqah jariyah, something that will continue to be a benefit to the Muslim community long after Safiya and I are gone.
Please support our work at muslimmediahub.com.
Your support is zakat eligible and tax deductible.
May Allah bless you and your loved ones today and always. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.